Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome all of you again to our webinar series on groups tonight. So Kelly Adelsberger will be the person leading the webinar this evening. So at this point, I would like to welcome Kelly to the stage and she can begin the webinar for this evening. Thank you.
But welcome tonight. Thank you for joining us. And my name is Kelly Adelsberger, and I'm one of the educational technology specialists, and I'm going to share with you the groups lesson activity tonight on Snow.live. And so Snow.live or Snowflake, what I'm going to be showing you tonight is the online version of Snowflake. All right, so on my screen here, I have a groups lesson activity that I created with Muley the pug here. And this is a rhyming lesson activity. And I always think of groups, if you're familiar with Active Inspire, if you use that in your district, I know we have previously, or Smart Notebook. I think of this as similar to that container activity, only a lot easier to create. So for groups, you have your objects on the left side of the screen and your groups are going to be on the right side of the screen. You can, here I have 3 separate groups. You can have more than that, or you can have less than that. I think sometimes if you have, 5 or 6 groups, sometimes the screen becomes a little difficult to see. But of course, it depends on what your content is and your viewers as well, and whether you're going to be showing it on just the panel or whether you're going to be having the students do the activities at their desks on their Chromebooks, that type of thing. So I found this groups lesson activity in the community. There's thousands of lesson activities in the community free for you to download. You can also create your own, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do here this evening. So up at the top, we have the little I. This is going to give us all the information about our lesson. Here we have an external link, rhyming words, worksheet activity. If we click on this, it's going to give us a link to an activity in Google Drive for your students to complete. And what the students have to do is they have to drag the words that rhyme with fall, the words that rhyme with wood, and the words that rhyme with mash. And the students, if they're in the practice mode, they'll get the checks up here and the X's for the ones that they get right and they don't get right. And then if we have this in gradable mode, it's not going to give the students feedback like this. They're just going to click submit, and then it's going to grade the entire activity for you. So you have a grade. So you can use this as formative assessment, summative assessment, guided practice. It really is a neat activity. And I wanted to show you a way to edit this, because if you notice the way that I have this activity set up, and I could go back and I could click the restart button, but I moved them individually. So you see here we have brawl, shawl, maul, wall, right? Well, all those go here. And then we have all the mash words, those go here, and all the words that rhyme with wood go here. Well, the students can figure out pretty quick, right, that there's a pattern. So one way we can change this is when we click on our 3 little dots up here and we go to edit. Right here we have rules. It says ordered. We can unorder those. I'm actually think I'm gonna have to shrink my screen just a little bit. They're so randomized. And now when we play it, we should have our words mixed up. So this is another way to differentiate with your students. So here all the words are mixed up and they're randomized, so they won't be so easy. I'm going to go back to edit. So under our manage content, well, first off, lesson activity name, I named it up here. You always want to name it, that way it's easy to find. Under manage content, this is where we're actually going to create our content. So our groups, rhymes with fall, these are going to be like our separate groups or separate containers. Rhymes with mash, and then rhymes with wood. And then under each of these, we click to create content, okay? And then here we're just going to have some text because I don't have my Muley picture, and I put mall there. And you can also add an image if you want, which is what I did for each of these. These are actually just JPEG images with this green background to make it look transparent. And you can delete any of these that you want by clicking the minus. And you can also move them around. We did randomize though, but if you wanted a particular order, you can move them around here. So we have our font selection, the size of our font, the color. For this, I have a background right here. This is the background that I chose. I purposely chose it so it looks like we're putting Muley with his bone into the doghouse. And then we have a fit, which is fill. So that means the background's going to take up the entire screen. And then the rules, we have them randomized. So that's not ordered. And we can also put up a timer here if we want to time the students or challenge them a little bit further. We can add that there as well. And on the lesson activity info, this is just talks about the Georgia State Standard will work for Common Core as well. We could add a video in here if we wanted to. And I actually don't have that saved. I had it saved previously, but we can put in any YouTube video here. Let's just search. And let's search for rhyming words. So if you want a YouTube video to play prior to your lesson. And we can also put the starting point of our video. So if our video is 10 minutes long and we don't want to show the entire 10-minute video, we can just simply put in, we want it to start at like 3 minutes and 56 seconds, and we want it to end at 8 minutes and 21 seconds. So that way it'll just capture the part of the video that you want your students to see for that particular skill or topic that you're teaching. So the age group, change your age group and subject. And right here, this is the web link that I included for extra practice. And then down here, these are just keywords separated by commas. So if any of those words are typed in the community, then this lesson will come up. And we can also add the standards down there as well. So again, this just shows you your lesson activity. Shows us our screenshots here. We have 2 screenshots added. And here, we want the video to show before lesson activity. Yes. So let's click play. We're gonna hope that video is okay. I did not preview it ahead of time. But because we had it selected to play before the lesson, so you can see the lesson there will play prior to the start of the video will play at the start of your lesson. So answers ahead of time, we can just close that X and we can look here at what the answers are. I need to do that on some of the higher level math activities. Any questions so far about groups?
Nothing thus far, Kelly.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to my lesson activities and I'm going to show you another groups lesson. So this is ones, tens, or hundreds. We don't have video playing ahead of time. And again, same concept. I can click on the I here to see what to do. Okay, so the students read the number on each of the fish and decide what place value the digit 8 is in. So if the 8 is in the 100 spot, move it here. If it's in the 10, move it here. If it's in the ones, here. Okay, again, these look like they're in a specific order. So I can go up here and I can go to edit and I can change that from order to randomize. And again, we have 3 separate groups. So you go right here to randomized, and then it should switch them up. And when we go to the lesson activity info, we have our groups right here. We have the hundreds, the tens, and the ones group. And then we have all of our images that go in the hundreds group, the tens group, and then in the ones group. And that's how it knows the right or wrong answer as well. And then the lesson activity info, we have screenshots, no video, ones, tens, and hundreds worksheet activity page that will come up for you to do with your students, our keywords, and then the standards. So we're actually going to go back and look at a lesson if I can find it. It's actually one of Danielle's lessons that I love. I think it's on Edgar Allan Poe, and it's a communication arts lesson. And I'm going to show you how to search for specific activities or just in general in the Snowflake community. So right now I'm at snow.live and I'm on the Explore page. So this is where you're going to find pretty much any topic, any lesson, any skill, any strand, any grade level, from pre-K, pre-kindergarten, all the way up through college and beyond. So here you can search by age. We can search by all lesson activity types. So we can specifically search for a lesson that is just group. So this is going to pull up just lesson activities that are specific to the group's lesson activity type. If you want to just search for, we're going to type in Edgar here and see if we can get Danielle's lesson. There it is. I love this lesson, Danielle. I use it all the time. Trainings with our kiddos. So this is Poetic Devices and Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. And this just gives you a totally different idea of how to use groups. And this is an excellent example of how to use it in communication arts. So we have a audio 9 minutes and 31 seconds that's going to play ahead of time. And what's neat too is you can also send these activities to your students' devices if they have Chromebooks or they have tablets, and the students can plug in headphones and they can listen to the video ahead of time and then complete the activity afterwards. So we have alliteration. It's one of our groups. Turn a rhyme, assonance. Here we go. My son said this would have made his lit class a lot more fun. And so if we want to see the answers, we can go up here and we can show answers again. It'll disappear, but we can keep those on the screen by just closing out this X and looking at those. And again, it's very easy to see background with the cards and the letters. We can go in here and we can edit the activity. If we want to edit the activity, we can take out any of these if we don't think that it's something we've taught yet. Maybe you only want to work on 2 groups at a time because you haven't taught all 3 yet, and you want to add the 3rd one at a later date. It makes it very easy to do that as well. Any other questions? Or actually any questions?
Actually, Kelly?
Yes.
I do have a couple of questions that have come in from some people from Hazelwood School District. And it says not about this particular training. And maybe you'll want to mute yourself because I can hear feedback from your computer while I speak, Kelly. But
okay, yes, it's hard to hear you. Let me.
So they're asking about, it says several teachers have had issues registering for the webinar since switching to Livestorm. We've picked spam folders, but no luck. The reason that we're having some issues is, just so that your teachers know, I just went on and looked at the registrants of the webinar, and many of them have unsubscribed from the email. So I think they may have done that by mistake. So I will check with what is going on and how they unsubscribed from them. But I would say about half of the people have unsubscribed. And those are the same people that are writing in saying they can't get into the webinars. So I will try to find a way that I can send it back out to them to resubscribe. So if you could just let your coworkers know that if they are having problems getting in. So I did get a few messages from people right as we were starting saying that they couldn't get in. And when I checked it, it is every one of them that couldn't get in had unsubscribed from the email. So hopefully that will clear some things up and we'll get some stuff back out to you. We'll also have the recording of this available quickly. And then we do have one other question, Kelly, and it says, could you share some information about adding customized backgrounds and pictures in the boxes instead of, or in addition to the text?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to figure out here what the best way would be to show you. I'll start with the background. So I'm going to go to edit. And so right here, I can X out this background. When I click background, I can browse, so I can search from anywhere on my computer. I actually made this, that last background in an application called Snagit. So you can just put images together You can screenshot things, and that's how I use to create it. You can also use Photoshop, or you can use CorelDRAW to create your own images. But to keep your images consistent, they should be the same width and the same height. So 400 by 400 or 300 by 300 or 200 by 200 here. And then the background can be pretty much any size, and you can click it to fill. And so for the background, you can do just an image search, right, online. Okay, and you see how that changes. We can also go to our Google Drive, we can go to OneDrive, or we can go to the content gallery, and these are backgrounds that have already been pre-made and they're in the NUITEQ software ready for you to use. I go to these quite a bit, and you see that background there. And these are just, it's basically a JPEG image, and it had the color green, the same as the color on the background, to kind of make it look like it was transparent. But when you add your own images, you want to make sure that they're the same width and the same height. And then here you have themes. So these are animated backgrounds. The kids absolutely love these. And I'm going to see if it changes here. If I click play, I might have to get rid of the background, though. Yeah, I have to actually get rid of the background. But the kids are in awe whenever this comes up. There we go. Oh, let's try candy. This totally does not go well together and would really mess with our eyes as well as the kids' eyes. But, and this one didn't come up. It might be because we're not on a panel, but comes up where the background is animated, and it looks really cool. And it only animates in the beginning. Does that help answer questions as far as the images go? Is that more helpful?
I got a response of a thumbs up, so I guess that's a yes.
Awesome. Any other questions?
Not thus far, Kelly, thank you.
Is there anything else that you'd like me to touch on, Jack? Or Danielle, anything that you can think of?
It would be nice if you could show some of the correlations of the editing and going from one lesson type to another, if you know some of that. And then also how to search the lessons by NUITEQ teachers so they can find and review lesson activity. How to search for NUITEQ teachers' lessons.
Okay. So whenever we go, we're going to click Explore, and this is going to take us to the community. So we have all ages. We have all lesson activity types. So we did search for groups. We have subjects. So if you just want a particular subject, you can search for that. All countries and everyone. So we could do verified teacher. We can do NUITEQ teachers. And if you search for NUITEQ teachers, you can see here, educator working at NUITEQ, you can see that come up. And then you can see here, teacher in the Snowflake community that shares awesome content. So you can see those little icons as well. And Jack, last time you shared, just what you shared was really informative, I think, and helpful as far as when teachers look for that, they know that they're getting good quality content.
And actually, I just had another person asking if you could show how to convert lessons from one type to another. So apparently there's a lot of interest in that. So if you want to show that a few times, that might be a good way to, a good thing for people to see again. That's coming in a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have similes and metaphors here. So I'm going to play this lesson, and then I'm going to show you how to change it into different lesson type. All right. So I'm going to go to edit. So right now it's in groups. Okay. Change lesson activity type. So I'm going to click this, and it's going to take me to all of the different lessons. So we have 16 different lesson activity types here. And So now for this activity type, this is bugs. And so it actually has all of the metaphors written on each of the bugs. And what you would want to do in here is you would want to add some of the similes in here as well. And you might want to make the directions that say click on all the metaphors, and then you set it up so the ones that the students click on are metaphors and not similes. That was probably very confusing. But we have metaphors here. All right, we can get rid of a couple of these, and we can actually put similes up here, like 2 or 3 of them. And then when we go to customize content, we have to set up which ones are metaphors, okay? And we can pick our bugs, and then which ones are similes. And then the students have to click on those. So this one, we didn't really have to do too much changing. It depends on the type that you want to change it into. Let me go to drop. I'm not sure why this isn't going to give us any info in here. We already did guess. Scramble doesn't really lend itself. Let's go to match. Match is pretty much one-on-one, so it's not going to help us out too much either. So here we have an Einstein preview. This says metaphors at the bottom, so the students have to drag all of the metaphors into the black box at the bottom. So again, we would want to mix some similes up in here as well, and vice versa, and just have the students drag the ones that are metaphors for the Einstein lesson. So you don't have to do a whole lot of work to change them or to change, to edit them, but the lesson does have to lend itself to being changed. For instance, the scramble activity here is really meant for just individual words. So that's not one we're going to want to switch over, if that makes sense. So I think we found 2 or 3 that were really pretty easy and quick to change. Does that help?
All good so far. No other questions coming in right now, but during this little break, I would like to again revisit. I've gotten quite a few messages about signing in again. So I would like to say for those that I've gotten messages from, I've checked on each name, and each person that has not been able to get in has unsubscribed themselves from the email, and every one of them are from one district, and it's from Hazelwood. So every single person that's been unsubscribed is from Hazelwood. So I'm kind of wondering if it might be that you're trying to do the email from school and there's something in your school filters that have blocked you from signing in. I know Kelly had some problems getting on Livestorm from your school internet. So I'm wondering if there's something in your IT filters at school that may have blocked you from signing on. So I will look into it for everyone. I do have a list of everyone that's been unsubscribed, and I will look into it and get an answer back to you before the next webinar and try to get you a link to go back in and subscribe again. And I'm going to ask that you try to do that from your home, not from your school site. Sorry to interrupt you, Kelly, with that, but I just wanted to, I've gotten so many messages, I wanted to answer that again.
Yeah, I'm guessing most of them were probably home. We were off half day. We got off half day today, but still it might be something, you know, just within our, I don't know if it's in our computer itself. I know some Hazelwood teachers are on, but then, like you said, there's a lot that couldn't get on. So I think that's about all I have, unless you'd like me to show anything else as far as groups is concerned.
All right, nope, we're good to go. At this point, then I would like to go ahead and open up the floor to questions about anything with Snowflake. So if anyone has any questions of anything at all to do with Snowflake, can't speak. Please feel free to send me a question in the questions tab, and we'll try to answer those. So I'll give it a couple of seconds for you to be able to type them to me if you have any questions. And Kelly, we do have a question that says, I would like to know how to create images with fillable words, such as the pugs used as an example today. So I would like to know how to create images with fillable words, such as the pugs used as an example today.
Okay, I actually use one of, it's called Snagit, usually to create my images. So you could use Microsoft Publisher, and you can open, and I actually I don't know exactly where my pug is, but if I click open editor here, so the pug that I used was actually my dog. I'm actually gonna go here and take a picture off Google, but do not do this and put it on the community for copyright issues, but in your classroom with your students. But mine was actually of Muley. So here we have a picture of a pug, and then I just added an image of the bone. But here we could add and then I would save this as like a 400 by 400 or 300 by 300 image. So let's see, file, save as. And then when we go into, I should actually look at its size because these are not the same. So let's look at 250 by 250. There we go. Undo file, save as. Let's resize this. And then when we go into our snow.live, and let's just say we want to do drop and we want to do opposites. Let's go to create new lesson activity, and I'm going to do the drop because that's going to give us a ring in the center and then the outside. So I can create round, and we can say opposites or antonyms. And let's say we want fast and slow. Okay, and this one here is not the correct size. It should be 250 by 250, and you wouldn't see that the colored square around there. And then if we want a background image, let's just do image search, and let's search for green grass for the background. So we have grass. We went ahead and did fill. That something a little, that's probably a link or copyright. Okay, so here we go. So when I click play, we now have our image, and the students have to drag the opposite together, so the fast and the slow. So hopefully that helps. I know it wasn't, I wasn't too prepared, but for that one, but hopefully that kind of explains how to create your own images and then insert those into the lesson. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much. And the person that asked for it, but Diane wrote back, yes, thank you. So if there are no other questions at this time, then I'm going to, as I'm closing, feel free to shoot one over if you want to. But if there are no other questions at this time, I would like to thank everyone for joining us this evening. For those of you that have coworkers that weren't able to get in, let them know what I was talking about this evening. I will look into why everyone was unsubscribed from the one school district. And it's not everyone, but about half of the people from the one school district were unsubscribed. So I will look into that and try to get an answer as to why that happened and send you out a link to resubscribe again. I would recommend that you accept that at home, not at work, because I do believe that there might be something with your network at work. So please just sign in and accept at home on your home network. And I would like to thank Kelly for leading us this evening in the group webinar and for all that you shared with us. And wish everyone a wonderful week. I am in Austin, Texas at a convention, and I am freezing to death, so I hope it's warmer wherever some of you are. So it's supposed to snow here tonight in Austin.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody. No, it's actually very, very cold here. So somewhere it's warmer, I'm sure. But thank you so much. Have a good evening.